You are a poet. If words take shape, twist, and change in your brain, you are a poet. If thoughts and rhymes run about in your mind and they don't let you sleep at night, you are a poet. If the things you still have to say find their way up your throat and into existence, you are a poet.
I took my daughter to the orientation, and just to kind of give you a sense, we believe that ABL space is a family space. So anyone who wants to bring in their grandparents, their kids, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? Because that's what education should be. It shouldn't be secluded. And I remember my daughter just goes to get a notebook, comes back, sits down quietly and starts writing, right? And she's just doing these scribbles. She's gonna be 3 in September. And I realized this is what literacy is, right? When you are around literacy, when you've created such a space that a 2-year-old catches it and can just get a notebook and engage, that's what I want my classroom to be like. That's what our communities should be like.
In the beginning, it started as a day program for about 15 teachers in 1987. But several of those teachers are still doing the work. And then in 87, we had a teacher workshop. In 88, we had a student workshop, which was actually started by a Boston teacher, Nancy O'Malley. And we bused kids from Boston for 2 years. And then it just got too expensive. So Nancy moved the teacher workshop to Boston, and it's gone ever since.
Youth aren't usually a part of the conversation when it comes down to their education. They get their curriculum picked out for them. Their lectures aren't planned with them. But at ABL, we ask the kids, what do you want? What do you want to hear from us? What do we want to do here? And it's all about the youth. I think we all have this concept of education as a teacher sits in the center of the room and gives out a lecture, and the kids receive that lecture. But that's definitely not what we do here. And I've learned so much from the ABL approach about democratic pedagogy, about having the youth retake the classroom and retake the spaces that they live in. And it's about reclaiming your own education. Son, you'll know you come from a long line of poets with brown skin like yours. That knowledge will open doors. Just because their poetry beats to the beat of a 3-step don't mean bachata ain't just as beautiful as that Shakespeare poem your English teacher's in love with.
When students go back to their schools, they encounter a very different set of messages. Very different set of very powerful messages. Most of which are the opposite of what we tell them here, right? So you hope that they can sort of, not only hear it, what happens here, but believe it and take that with them, right? That's asking a lot. That's asking a lot, because the other message is delivered to them every day, September through June, right? Which is, your voice is not important. What you have to say is not nearly as important as what I have to say. And it would be best if you mimic me, and that's how you get ahead. That's how you move forward. But again, it's a hope with the knowledge that there's a very powerful counter message that happens within schools 8-9 months out of the year.
Breadloaf does a really good job with the kids in terms of dispelling the myth that they have to be a certain way, have to talk a certain way, as some have to not be themselves in order to be smart, in order to be a learner, in order to be a poet or a writer, or whatever they want to be.
I think another thing about Breadloaf is that it utilizes such a radical pedagogical method that kids can teach kids, that we all teach each other. And that's something you really do not see in any form of education, that your experiences matter and that you can help solve these problems in your community, amongst each other, that you matter. That's really at the core of what Andover Breadloaf is.
I witnessed that. I think Breadloaf redefines what it means to be a good student. I think a lot of students are kind of bred to believe that being a good student means that you're obedient and you don't question authority and you don't question power structures and you do what you're told, and that will produce really what you want in life. And really, I think, if anything, this program speaks to the fact that the best of students are the ones that are constantly asking questions of the elitism of educational institutions and the ones that are asking questions of their teachers. And I think that's really good, and I think I can see that in some of the kids, that they're really engaged and interested in what is going on in their lives.
What intrigues me most about the space that Andover Breadloaf creates for people, both here and we're not the only people who do this, but in a room with like 125, yesterday 200 people, that is not a space dominated by white supremacy, by competitiveness. That's a space that's all inclusive, and even the word domination is wrong, but it's a space for people of color, but for all of us. It's a space for women. It's a space for people who identify in different sexual preferences. It's a space for people who have disabilities, where everybody is not just accepted but loved.
You're Puerto Rican.
We recognize that every single person in the room has something to contribute to this big community, and that we need to hear from everyone. Most academic and most institutions, and most, because it's predominantly white, that this, and you know, I'm using the term broadly, but this kind of white supremacy is everywhere, and you can't escape it. And I think that's why Altair is a place for people, and I think that's the same here. Like, it's an all-inclusive and loving place.
The biggest power I think we have as humans are our voices, and to not only recognize that, but to start employing that and to start enacting change is extremely powerful. That's what's gonna survive. That's what makes humans humans. That's what creates community. And so for me, the Andover Breadloaf program really is powerful. And it becomes not just powerful in an intrinsic way, but also very powerful in a way that it just shoots out and really affects change through just your voice.